Good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everybody. Wonderful to have you all here again. Tim Wagner greeting you for the fourth time on our workshop on helping you maintain focus on your dreams and goals in 2023. That's the overriding feature. Every month we have a different sort of subheading and category, and I'm going to share that with you just now. So for those in South Africa who are braving this power outages that we're dealing with, let's hope your batteries are all supercharged. If anybody's joining us from the UK, I believe in England, you're going to be joining us on this challenge of power soon enough. We are here for an amazing journey this evening. It's Freedom Day in South Africa. So right now, you're determining whether you're going to be here to find your own personal freedom, not a freedom from elsewhere, a personal freedom. I'm going to play a little bit with you here. I'm seeing a lot of amazing faces, some great new people that we haven't met before, and I'm seeing lots of blank squares. I'm going to ask for your participation in here. I'm going to try something here. Let's play a little bit today. Do you see a different type of screen in front of you? And for this, you're going to need to put on your camera. You see, as speakers and coaches and guides, we give our energy, we give our all, we share with you, we put ourselves out there, and it's the participation of you guys seeing your faces that gives us energy in return. So unless you really can't have your camera on, please put it on. This is our way of seeing who we're actually speaking to. I'm not going to speak on behalf of the other coaches, but I love a live audience. But I can meet and reach so many more people by Zoom. So here we are. Now we've got more people joining us. I know Zoom has a hidden little secret where the password is, and I've sent out the email. But here we are, and you're joining. How do you like this auditorium, this little room that we've got sitting in here? How does this work for you? Let's practice. You've got at the bottom of the screen little reactions, and those reactions are the emojis. You can give a little thumbs up, you can give a heart, you can give an applause. We're going to try it. There we go, we've got some hearts. Because you see, what I'm also asking for this evening is interaction. That's also what we're asking for, is your participation. This, after all, is a workshop, not a sit and listen, or sit or lie down and listen shop. And so I hope we're ready for this, as we've got some amazing things. So those who don't know me, my name is Tim Wagner. I'm a professional pointer. I point you in a new direction to find purpose in life outside of parenting and business. Now, I've got a whole new category to my coaching that I'm going to be introducing. I've already done a little bit in the last few Zooms, but I'm introducing this as a module within my coaching because I am soon to be qualified as a Breath Masters practitioner. Now, that's a different, whole other entity of experience, but we're going to share a little bit about that with you shortly. You need to hang around until the very end, because right at the end, for those only on the live call, I'm going to put a link to a Google Doc that you download and you complete this. You email it through to me, the instructions on the document, where you can apply to have a 1-hour private one-on-one session with your coach of choice. This is worth anywhere from $200 to $600. You do not want to miss out. And it's only being given to those who come and join the live. So if you're watching the recording, you're going to need to make a plan, put it in your diary the last Thursday of next month, because I'm here with coaches again, but you want to block that off in your diary so you can get access to that. How does that sound? Who thinks that is a seriously worthwhile reason for actually being here this evening? It's a public holiday. You probably got the dog whining at you because it needs to go for a walk. Your partner or spouse is saying, you haven't taken out the rubbish. Yes, thank you, nodding. Or perhaps just they're saying, where's dinner? And the kids want your attention. It's a holiday. You had a beautiful meal, maybe ate too much for lunch and had too many glasses of wine. I'm going to help you break through that little bit of lethargy just now. But you're here, and that's what's important. So that's our return to you saying, thank you very much. Come and join us. So, participation. as we're going through this, you like what something's being said, put it in the chat box there. The coaches are going to monitor it. So whoever's not speaking will reply to you. Got some questions, put it in there. You like something, give us some love, show us some love. You want a question on it, put that in there and we see we can get going. Are we ready, guys? Are we ready for this? I'm getting a few thumbs up. I would like to begin with getting a little bit of center and some focus. There's lots of stuff happens around us. We've got these things, if you can see it, which are wonderful, a cell phone, you can't really see at sometimes, but they can be a huge distraction. So if you've committed your time to you, be here and play full out. So what I would like to do is do a 2-minute breathwork exercise. It's called the coffee breathing, or as more commonly known, 10, 20, 30. Why the coffee breathing? Because this will give you a boost. This gives you a boost of your adrenaline. And not only am I looking to get some real attention from everybody tonight and help you focus in these 2 hours, but you can very easily learn this and use it at any part during your day when you're feeling that down, that slump. You've got to do this project and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So you could use this as an alternative to that coffee boost. And it's very simple. It's non-intrusive. I'm going to explain to you, and then we're actually going to be doing it. Does that sound good? Are you ready for this? So the coffee breathing is 10, 20, 30. You're going to either sit or lie down. I wouldn't do this driving, but you're sitting in a chair with a backrest. You can put your arms on the desk. I'm sitting by a desk in front of me, or just on your lap. It doesn't really matter. Somewhere that's comfortable and relaxed. This breath exercise is through the mouth. It's all done through the mouth, because what we're going to be doing is activating the sympathetic nervous system, which is your chest. It's up here. I don't know if you can see me. This is where we typically breathe. In fact, 90% of people breathe here, which is very poor breathing exercises or way to live and breathe, because this is where anxiety, stress, this is where it sits. So if you're highly strung and you're anxious, you're going to find that you're breathing here, whereas the ideal breathing is belly. But we're going to breathe here because we want to activate and awake. Okay, so this is where it's going to happen. I must get my timer ready here while I'm quickly talking to you. The start is 10 breaths in. You're going to be breathing through your chest, and I'm going to count for you. You're going to be doing deeper breaths than you normally would. The deeper you breathe, the deeper you go. The more impact and more boost you're going to get. So the first is we're going to do 10 deep breaths in and out. So it's going to sound something like this. And I'll put my hand here just so you can see my chest. You don't have to do this. I'm going to demonstrate for you. So you'll be going. You don't have to make a noise. I'm doing that on purpose so you can hear my breathing. And you're going to do that 10 times. On the 10th, I'm going to tell you to breathe out. And you're going to hold your breath on the out with no air in your lungs for 10 seconds. So some of you, that probably the last time you held your breath was when you were a kid in the swimming pool and you were going underwater swimming legs. But for the rest of us, it's a very good practice to actually do. The second round is 20, when you're going to be doing 20 breaths. And then you're going to hold on the exhale for 20. And the last one is 30 breaths. And some of you who are poor breathers, which is 90% of the people in the world, as I've said, are going to start to struggle with the 30. So do what you can. If you feel it's getting a little bit intense, just slow on your breathing. It's fine. But if you can keep up, you're doing 30 breaths, and then on the out, you're going to hold for 30. But I'm going to count to 1 minute. And if you think you can't hold your breath for 1 minute, by this time, your body's going to be hyperoxygenated. And in fact, if you are then desperate for a breath, it's not a lack of oxygen. It's actually a buildup of CO2 that's causing you for that need to breathe. Your blood is always going to have between 95 and 99% oxygen, unless you are extreme sportsman, it'll change. Okay, so we're ready. So I'm going to count you in. I've got my timer going over here. I'm going to count you in, and you're going to be doing 10. So you're going to relax nicely, and you're going to be doing 10 breaths. Remember, you're going to be breathing from your chest, 10 breaths in and out. And 3, 2, 1, go. And one more, and out, and hold your breath for 10. 2 seconds to go, and breathe. And you're breathing for 20 seconds. Keep going. So just focusing on your breath, making sure you're getting a nice deep breath into your chest. And you're going to let your breath out and hold for 20. At this point, you maybe find that you're getting a little bit of tingling in your fingers. That's normal, it's fine. If you find in the next round, you're getting a little bit lightheaded, it's just all the oxygen that's going to be pumping through. And we've got 2, 1, and breathe, 30. For those people who are bad breathers and weak breathers, where you find that you breathe very shallow, this maybe start getting a little bit of discomfort for you. So I'd highly recommend that you actually do this through the day and start having a very careful look at your breath exercises. We've got another 5 seconds to go. And then you're going to be on 2, 1, let your breath out and hold. At this point, just feel your body. Whatever feelings you feel, just acknowledge it. This is your body. This is the most important vessel that you have, the most important thing that you've got. We've only got one of them. 10 seconds to go. And if you can, continue to hold, continue to hold. If you can't, then just come out. I'm going to keep counting, and it's 30 seconds. For those who need to breathe, take a nice breath and just come back into normal breathing. And 20 seconds to go. See, we've got a couple. I see there's a few sports guys here who are managing to hold. You know who you are. We've got 10 seconds. And just think about how you're feeling. Where do you feel? 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Well done. Congratulations, everybody. How do you feel? Give us a little comment, a little thumbs up. Are you feeling refreshed? Do you feel that a little bit of that sort of early evening drowsiness and calming is sort of gone? You're feeling a little bit, oh, I got some boost here. How are we feeling? Give us some thumbs up. Show us. We've got lekker, says John. Thank you very much. We've got some thumbs up going. Thanks a lot. Yeah, we've got Doc and. All right. This is a wonderful exercise that you, as I said, you can use this at any single time. Now imagine with just 2 minutes and how you can change your state, and your breathing is the only part of our system that we can actually control, which is run by our autonomic nervous system. And when you realize how quickly that you can change your state with breath, you'll realize why I'm so passionate and excited about this, but I'm going to share a little bit more about that later on. For now that we're all amped, we're here, we're focused, we're centered, we're here to get the most out of this. I'm excited. I'm going to share a little bit of my story. I'm going to share a recent journey that I was on before I introduce you to the 3 amazing coaches. I'm so blessed, so privileged to have them. Of course, we've got the amazing Eli Javits. He's back again. This man is full on. When he turned off to me after the first one and said, Tim, I want to join you. I've got so much to share. I love what you're doing. I was, Eli, you're in, dude. That's absolutely amazing. So with Eli and I, we put this together. We've got 2 amazing ladies. Sure, you are going to be blown away. You're going to have to hang around, though, for this information, because I'm going to introduce you to, I'm so blessed and fortunate to have these people in my life and sharing with you. Right, I need to get moving on here. Now, in my coaching program, in my overall program, I'm, as I said, a professional pointer. Now, when you point, before you look at anybody else, there's 3 fingers coming back to you. And with these 3 fingers, I focus on who you want to be, why you want to be this who, and how you're going to get to become this who. So in this, it's all part of a journey that I'm personally experiencing and personally gone through, where I teach what I learn. And as part of my who, I've got a few of them, who I want to become this year, or who I will become, as my correct use of language. And we've got a true language, and she's nodding her head saying, good, you corrected yourself, Tim. You're going to hear from her later on. That's Janine. So I will become a triathlete. And I've shared a little bit of before this with some of you on previous workshops. And I'm going to share a journey that happened when just over a week and a half ago, I did my second half marathon. I forgot words, 21 kilometers. Now, if you've done a lot of exercise, anybody done a half marathon or a marathon before? Just raise your hand. Who am I speaking to? Am I, hey, Doc Ant over there. I can't see many other people on my setup on here. Well, if you have, you'll understand. There we go. John, well done. Raised his hand as well. Now, I've done only 2. I did my first one last month. I did my second one now. Absolutely phenomenal. So the 2 oceans, there was 16,000 people. Now, I'm an unseeded runner. I've only just started. I've only just got my number. So that means I'm starting number 16,000 right at the back. But I'm not that unfit. And so I've got to battle my way through all of these people in order to find my spot. And I'm going through this. Absolutely amazing energy, the gears, the excitement, the people, the outfits that some people were wearing, and we went off. So the first part, it's in Cape Town, this run. After 3 kilometers, you head towards a long sloping road downhill. It's called the M3. Those who know Cape Town will know the M3, going towards where Constantia is, the Ladies Mile. So it's quite the tar road is actually, it's quite rough. And it's a 4-lane highway, so it's very wide, but it's packed because everybody's still very bunched up. And as I'm running, I'm trying to dodge people. I'm playing dodging, sidestepping people all the time. So I pick the inside line. And I think, okay, I'm finding a bit of a path here, squeezing between where the bushes are, between the two thoroughfares and the people. But as I'm running down, doing a good pace, I'm seeing people falling over. And wow, okay, this is quite intense. We're so bundled up, people are falling over. And then I hear somebody's words. They say, watch out for the cat's eyes. So the cat eyes on that road sit, I didn't measure it, but they're big. And as I hear this, there's a lot of runners who have stopped and they're busy fielding everybody away. They're warning people, there's something happened, something happened. And as I run past, there's a lady who's fallen over, and it's not a pretty sight. She's landed horribly. And instantly as I saw that, I said in my mind, don't trip on a cat eye. You all know what happened next. I tripped on a cat eye. Over I went. Magic, my spirit guide must have been around me. Somehow, I did a very quick flip, only a little graze on my hand, a little graze on my elbow, a very quick flip. And with maybe the momentum, I was back on my feet. In fact, it was so quick, my glasses and my hat even stayed on my head. In that instant that I went, people were asking me, you okay? Wow, that's amazing. And I'm thinking, okay, I don't know what happened. Now, a little bit of a backstory here for you. I suffer with a little bit, it's a lot better, with osteoarthritis in my 2 big toes. Those who have osteoarthritis can imagine what happens now. I put my foot down. Now, have you ever hurt your big toe? And you always stump that toe. Which toe do you think connected with that cat eye? My heavily arthritic big toe on my left foot. And I put my foot down and I'm running. Remember, we're going at pace. This is happening 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, so quickly. And as I put my foot down, imagine a handful of red hot needles being jabbed into your toe. That's exactly the pain that shot up through my foot, shot up through my leg, and went all the way into my head. Now, it was a cold morning, and we were running downhill. So the cold morning was making my eyes water. So I wasn't crying, but water because it was cold. That was intense. Now I had an instant decision to make. What do I do here? This is not comfortable. Now, noting, this is 3 kilometers in. I've got 18 to run. There's 2 huge hills. Uphill, not so bad. Downhill, my toe was pushing against the shoe. What do? I'm all committed. I'm in. Nothing was going to stop me. That was a matter of head up, breathe. Back to my breath work. Breathe. Breathe it through. Focus up. Head up and go. After a couple of kilometers, don't know, it started to feel a bit better. Maybe I forgot about it. I just tried to think about something else. I was not going to stop on this. And off I went. The run was very good. let's see, 5 kilometers. No, it was 15, kilometer 15. I don't travel with a watch. I don't travel with anything. Good idea, doing better. Thanks, Cecile. Yeah, I'm walking. I did a 10-kilometer run last week, test my toe. And so the 15 kilometers, now I don't run with anything because I'm only racing myself. I'm not racing anybody else. It's me. How much can I do? How fast can I push myself? How much further can I go? So I purposely don't time myself. But at 15 kilometers, I asked a guy that I was sort of pacing with, how long we've been going. And he said 90 minutes. My goal was, because I always like to have a goal, my goal was to do 2 hour, sub 2 hour. My first half marathon I did 2 hours, 3 minutes. Now there's a lot of hills here. My toe wasn't the happiest. By this time, my toe on my right foot was starting to give me a little bit of a jitter as well. And I looked at this and I thought, there's 2 uphills left. There's a lot of people in front of me. Can I do 6 kilometers in 30 minutes? I'm going for it. So from that original goal of 2 hours, I then set up an objective, a goal, a challenge. I challenged myself to something right here and right now to go all in. I'm here all in. I'm not going to get to the finishing line and have another 5 kilometers in my legs. I want to get to the finishing line and be finished. So now, in order to do that, I set myself up some small objectives, I set a strategy of some small goals on the way. And you start understanding the reason behind this, because the lessons that I was learning throughout this entire process, I'm just got to keep an eye on my time here. Sorry, guys. Through this entire process was that no one passes me. If somebody does pass me, I sit on their heels and I use them as my accountability partner to push me. They're going to draw me up further and faster. The next one was I passed the next person in front, and then the next person in front, and the next person in front. And the third one was go all out, not look back. Don't look, just go. Sometimes we need to just move without consistently checking on our status. I did not want to check that time again. I was going, and because I was going to push myself to the nth extreme, there was no need, because I just had one goal, and that was the finish line. So we're going up hills. Now they're starting, and this is where the researchers, and the research I did, said that this is where a lot of runners hit that wall, the block, because they haven't taken into account 2 kilometers in, there's a hill. And this hill goes about 1 kilometer too long, to be honest with you. I hear this stallion behind me, and I look, and there's this young 20-something-year-old, and he's running like a stallion in the field, just pacing up this hill. I'm thinking, okay, dude, I'm following you. You're my accountability. You're going to take me over the line. And head down, and off I went. I'm going to just share my screen with you very quickly. Those who have run before will know, will get this. This is my times. At the bottom, you can see there the average pace of 5:40. 15 kilometers, I'd done a pace, the prior 5 at 6 minutes 10. The last 6 kilometers, I did an average of 5 minutes 11 per kilometer. And yes, I came in at 1:59 and 25 seconds. Was I chuffed? Was I proud of myself? Wow. I did that last 6 kilometers in 30 minutes. Now that, you got to celebrate your successes, right? And that's a key thing here as well, is celebrate your success. So I have a look now at this amazing accomplishment. I go, okay, there's a lot of things to learn here. And perhaps you want to take a pen and paper out at this point, because here's the message from me to you today. Excellent. See some pens. The people are looking at. Here's my message. Be careful what you focus on. Be very careful what you focus on. Focus on what you want, not what you don't want. The next one is there. Set those goals. I personally work very well with a deadline, with a timeline. When I know when my next run is or my next event is, I know what I can do and what I need to do before I get to that point. And with a bigger goal, set smaller strategies. But as you're heading towards your goal, you are amending and adapting these strategies as you go. Find an accountability partner, an essential part. Somebody who's going to take you over the line, who's going to go over the line with you. preferably in front, who's pushing you that much more. Celebrate your wins and evaluate afterwards. Sometimes over-evaluation can lead to procrastination, where you sit there so long looking at the numbers or whatever your goal is, aiming for it, and you sit there analyzing and studying so much without actually doing it. So sometimes you've just got to put your foot down. You've just got to put your head down. My foot, in my example, your head down, and go. When you get there, that's when you can have a look. So now I'm looking at all of those lessons, and I'm turning around and thinking, I'm scaling this up now, because my next run that I've challenged myself with is a full marathon, which is double, 42 kilometers. I got this far with my knowledge of myself, with YouTube videos and a little bit of Google and just chatting to a couple of people. 21 kilometers, anybody with a moderate round of fitness can do it, right? You can walk it in 4 hours, it's fine. 42K is a different story. This now means I've been able to take myself on my own to a certain amount, a certain distance. I call this bridging the gap. I've now got a huge gap between where I am and getting to being a full 42-kilometer runner. How do I bridge this gap? I'm probably going to, what I have already, I've joined a running club. I'm meeting with other seasoned runners. I need a coach. You can get so far in life, but to get you to where you ultimately, or who in my case, I want to be, I've got to get external wisdom, experience, knowledge. And in a lot of cases, should you want to be a professional, you're going to need to cut a check for speed. Pay somebody for their expertise to get you across the finishing line and further. Here's 2 more lessons for you, and you're gonna laugh at these at this one. The next one is make sure you got the right equipment. My shoes, not the right equipment. My shorts, well, let's just say that the chafing in certain places where there shouldn't be chafing made me walk like a cowboy for 2 days afterwards. I need new short equipment. You've got to have the right tools for the job. Why is this so connected with the focus this week, this month, of maintaining, of helping you break through these crises which happen all the time when we're trying to achieve our dreams and goals? Well, going head over heels down a hill is pretty much a crisis. What do? How do you get over it? When you got to have a look at saying, how am I going to scale to the next stage? All these people in front of me who are blocking me, who are obstacles, they are all what we have every single day that blocks us from getting where we want to go. So how do you maintain this? And the next person that I'm going to be introducing you to is going to help you understand this. I've shared my story of a practical, real life challenge and obstacles, how I got through this and the lessons I've learned from it, to hopefully not repeat, or that I won't repeat the same ones again. But Eli Jarvis is a man who understands the brain. He understands why when certain things happen, they happen. And if you know and understand this, you start to realize that you're in more control than you actually know. You have a lot more control of your surroundings, your environment, and your future. So back by popular demand. We've got David joined us, absolutely no problem. I'm just going to make sure. It's wonderful to see you all guys here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to introduce you to Eli. For those who haven't met Eli Jarvis, phenomenal man, lives in Canada, born in Israel, lived in Russia. He's got businesses coming out of his ears. He is a true businessman. Eli's also a high-performance mindset coach. He's a certified consultant from Bob Proctor. If you know Bob Proctor stuff, you will understand his level of knowledge. And he's got way over 30 years experience. He's also not a stranger to chaos in life. As a few years ago, he went through a 3-year class action lawsuit when one of his businesses went bankrupt. So he understands the challenges that can get thrown at him. And he told me, he said, Tim, even though I went through that, I maintained my family, my home, and my lifestyle. Now, in that environment, with that stress of a businessman going through it, I take my hat off to him just for that. So if you would like to hear what other the stories Eli has had to say, what I suggest you do then is, now that you are here, you've got access to the Facebook group. I hope you've joined. I'm going to put it in the chat box if you haven't, so that you can then get access to the previous 3 recordings and listen to all of Eli's messages, because they all need listening to twice, if not thrice. Eli, welcome, my friend. It's an honor and privilege to have you back. I'm going to hand the microphone over to Eli.
Thank you, Tim. That was a great story. And I love the way that you actually used your experience and your story. And I'm hoping that by sharing what I'm going to share now with everybody who's joining us, that it'll actually kind of connect the puzzle, exactly what happened in your story and experience, kind of like what happened in my life with, going through certain financial situation and things that kind of were out of my control. And interestingly enough, if we're not careful what we focus on, we go down a rabbit hole that has no end, and we can get really, really deep into that rabbit hole unintentionally. And it's what happens to majority of people, because we all have something going on in our life. Some people look at someone's situation and they're like, you call that a tragedy? You know what I mean? Because their story might be much worse. So it's irrelevant what is happening in your life or in what part of your life, whether it's your health, your relationships, or your finances. Everyone undergoes certain things in their life. It's how we perceive the situation and what we do with it that determines the outcome and determines where we're going to go. And it was very important for me to learn the lesson that I learned, and I'm going to share some of that with you today, that helped me kind of recover and get unstuck from that deep dive that I took into the rabbit hole that I didn't even realize I was doing. And most people do that. Somebody, for example, just to touch on what Tim shared with us, somebody who would have that problem with the toe and stumbling, and some people would just be like, oh man, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe I'm in so much pain. I quit. I'm done. It was a good try, but I'm out. I'm done. Someone else, and it all depends on what's going on in here. You either say, I'm done. I can't. My toe hurts. I'm not running another so many more kilometers with everything that's going on. I'm just finished. Someone else says, no, I committed to this. I'm in it no matter what, and I'm going to go for it. And look what happens. Right? That's why I also want to commend Tim, because I know he did do the 2 half marathons, and same idea. If it wasn't for him getting the idea in his head about running half a marathon, he would have never done it. First of all, he would have never completed it. I don't think he would have ever started it. You know what I mean? So it's about, and look, and it doesn't matter where we are in life, what age we are, whether we worked out or exercised before or not, anyone can do it. Anyone can do it. I've worked with people who actually wanted to run half a marathon, never having to ever gone to the gym, never having to run, but something triggered inside of them. They said they wanted to do it because it was like their thing. I know that for me, for my 50th birthday, my gift to myself, people are like, what are you, nuts? My gift for myself was to do 75 hard, which was a big challenge. It's 75 days consecutive of certain criteria you got to meet every single day. Nobody's watching you. Nobody's monitoring. It's you against you, but the idea is, if you're true to yourself, if you miss any one of those 5 criterias, which is like drinking 4 liters of water a day, which was like, couldn't even believe that's possible. That was my biggest nemesis. 2 workouts a day, that I can handle. Reading every day, 10 pages of a non-fictional book. I'm used to reading beautiful, deep thought stuff and, creation and energy. I was good with that. But everyone had a certain thing that they're not okay with. But when the commitment is made, you can do it. And I had some days when I almost failed. I'm talking about, like, I put on my running shoes and went running outside at midnight, because I didn't want to fail 40 days into my 75-day journey, right? when you go through something like that, when you prove to yourself that you make a decision and you can achieve it, other things in your life start unfolding. You basically prove to yourself what's possible. And that's what I want to share with you guys today. A little more of understanding of what happens in here that actually translates right here in your reality. What is it about this? Look, at the end of the day, everyone who's joined us before probably heard me say it in the other workshops. But in case you don't know, you're a spiritual being. You're not a physical being. You're a spiritual being. You live in a physical body, and you're blessed with an intellect. So you're an infinite spirit that by some miracle ended up in a physical body and connected with an intellect that's direct source to whatever it is you believe in. The universe, God, Allah, spirit, whatever you want to call it, it's all the same. It all comes from infinite. I'm just curious, those who are joining me, let's get a little more interactive. What is your definition of infinite? Please put it in. I'm just going to give it a second. Because I was asked this and I was curious. I want to know what people's answer is. What is your definition of infinite? Unlimited, ongoing, source. Beautiful. So I'll share with you what my answer was. When I heard, what is your definition of infinite? I was like, no end. And I was like, oh, okay, that's good. And then I was told, well, that's only half the formula. The true definition of infinite is no beginning and no end. It's always on to itself. It has no point of origination. It has no point of demarcation, destruction. Energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. That's it. Simple. I don't even want to go into defining why that is and how that is, because there's no answer. Science proves it in their way by saying energy is. Religion actually proves it in their way, which they say God is. God is, energy is, same thing. No beginning, no end, always on to itself. Now here's the interesting part. We're all the same. We're all infinite. I know you don't want to believe it right now, maybe because of what's going on in your life, situation, maybe something that you've experienced up to now, but you are infinite. And once you start to grasp, wait a minute, I'm an infinite, like I have no beginning and no end, and I'm in this physical body, and I have this infinite mind, like, wow, right? It's actually wow. So here's what I want to share with you and how we can make use of the infinite part in us. That part that allows us to do whatever we want. The difficult part that most people have with understanding how infinite they really are is that we think in pictures. Universal language is about pictures. You speak words because that's a human thing, but you actually picture things when you're saying something. I'll give you an example. If I ask you, what color is your car? What's the first thing that pops into your car? An image of the car. If I ask you, what does your favorite dress or suit look like? Instantly, you get an image of the suit. If I ask you, what does your fridge look like? Right away, you're like, you can picture your fridge. But when I ask you, what does your mind look like? And once again, let's keep it interactive. What does your mind look like? What comes up when I say that? So my definition, when I was asked that, I said, well, the brain. And the interesting part is the brain is not the mind, because if we actually cut our head open, look inside, we'll see that there's I see an endless like a mist. Oh, wow. Okay, amazing. See, I said the brain, but it turns out the brain's a physical thing. We cut it open, there's a brain in there. The mind is a non-physical thing, so we've never seen it. And yet the mind is in every cell of this body. It's in my nails, it's in my head, it's in everywhere. So the problem is if you're an infinite being, you're living in an incredible machine called a body that's capable of running half a marathon with one toe busted after being rolled over. You can do anything you want with your mind. But hold on a second, Ellie. If we've never seen the mind and we think in pictures, how does that work? How can I work with my mind if I have no image to reference it to, if I think in pictures? So that's what I want to look at today. For some of you who have joined our other workshops, you've seen this before. It doesn't matter. You're going to keep seeing it because repetition is the mother of all learning. For those who are joining us for the first time, welcome. Thank you. And I'm going to share something incredible with you because this was the greatest lesson that my mentors learned in his 60 plus years of helping everyone around the world get better and live better. And definitely the greatest lesson I've learned. And we're going to look today at your mind and at your what's called paradigms, which for another definition is your limiting beliefs. What's holding you back? What's keeping you from connecting that infinite part of you to the physical part of you and living the life you really want? The health that you want, the relationships you want, the financial freedom you want, all of it is available. All of it is already here, actually. But what's keeping it from you living it? And this is where the problem comes in. So in 1934, Dr. Thurman Fleet, who was a holistic doctor, he was actually a chiropractor. He wanted to heal people holistically, meaning their mind, body, soul. And he realized, well, no one's seen the mind. So how can I work with people in their mind if no one has seen the mind? And this is the part that I've shared before, but I just want to refresh it because the importance of what I'm going to share with you today refers back to this. So he created the image called the stick person. And it's just a concept. It's an image for you to refer to when Ellie's talking about the mind, right? The image is, imagine this is your mind, and obviously this is the body. And what he did is he split it in half. He called the top portion the conscious mind, and the bottom portion the subconscious mind. Psychology gets much more deep into this and all kinds of stuff, but let's just keep it simple. You have a conscious mind, you have a subconscious mind, and you have your physical body that you see every day. When we understand how the conscious mind, right now you're consciously listening to me through your ears, you're seeing things through your eyes, you're consciously aware. But there's a very big difference between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And when you understand how they work, you start to be able to take that amazing part of you, that intellect, and connect spirit to your physical, where all the magic opens up. The conscious mind is referred to as the thinking mind. It's actually been also in school, they refer to it as the educated mind, which is where they try to pile all the books and all the information, and they try to teach you stuff in your conscious awareness, the educated mind. And it's called the intellect, or referred to as the intellect. The subconscious on the other part is referred to as the emotional mind. And here's the interesting part. Emotion, if we break that word down, is emotion, energy in motion. Remember I said energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. Energy actually falls under the universal law of perpetual transmutation. It states that energy must take form. Although it has no form, it must transmute into form. And that's what I'm going to share with you right after the slide. The question becomes, what form are you giving energy? Tim shared with us. His form could have been, I'm done. My toe is busted. I'm finished. That and energy would have taken him right out of the race. But he chose to transmute his energy into something else and finish the race. And interestingly enough, as he told himself a number and beating that number, energy transmuted its way and gave him less than 2 in order to complete. So that's just a small example of how it works. The subconscious is considered the emotional mind. It's also known as the universal mind, that part of you that's infinite, that has no beginning and no end. It was there from the moment of conception. It was there when the heart was first formed, which is the first thing that forms in our body. It was there controlling every beat of our heart, every cell of our body as it came together. It is there controlling your breath. It's flowing the blood while you're sitting listening to this crazy guy chattering away. It is controlling how your nails continue to grow while you're sleeping, because the subconscious mind never stops, never sleeps. It's just infinite. It's got no beginning and no end. It's universal. Now, here's the interesting part. On a conscious level, you can choose. You can choose, you can also accept or reject. Right now, you can just reject all the nonsense I'm sharing with you, or you can choose to accept it because the truth is easy to understand and accept, because this is how it works. So you can choose what you let in and what you don't. You can also originate ideas. So you can choose to reject all the nonsense the government's been feeding you, the media has been telling you. You can reject of how bad Corona was for you and just live your life. Or you can accept it, and you know what happens because you've seen it on the news, right? You can also originate ideas, but on the subconscious mind, it cannot accept or reject. It just must accept. It's like a hard drive where basically it's like a cup, and whatever you put into it fills the cup. It must accept. It cannot say, oh, don't be thinking of what we don't want, like Tim shared with us. Only be focused on what you do want. Doesn't have that ability. It just says, hey, man, your wish is my command. That's the genie, actually. Your lantern is right here. All you got to do is rub it, and a genie comes out. And that genie must do what it is told. Question is, what are you telling it to do? What are you allowing your genie to accept? But here's the best part about it. It cannot determine the difference between what is real or what is simply imagined. And that's the part that allows us to take control of anything we want in our life. I'm going to use the acorn as an analogy, as an example, so you can understand that on a deeper level. An acorn is a seed. Within that seed, within that tiny little, cute little acorn, is a pattern plan that controls the vibration of the seed. Now, the acorn is programmed to grow into only one thing, and that's a giant oak tree. It cannot become an apple tree. It cannot become any other kind of flower or anything else. It only has one code in this tiny little acorn that's programmed to become a giant oak tree. Now, here's the interesting part. If we just keep the acorn in our pocket, like a cute little thing that we can give to a child and just play around and throw it and play games with it, it just sits. It's just an acorn, and eventually it'll disintegrate. Somehow, somewhere, it'll just become nothing, or it'll just stay as an acorn forever. But if we actually put the acorn where it belongs, where it was meant to be, in the ground, by some miracle, when it's sitting in a conducive environment, all of a sudden it starts drawing all the energy that it needs from the ground and from the soil towards it. And now the pattern code, that code inside that little acorn, starts to do its thing. We don't see it, we don't know, but eventually, with enough time, it grows these massive, giant roots, like giant roots that span God knows how much, all from this tiny little acorn, because it has a code in it, one code. Those roots turn out to be a giant oak tree. Now, here's the interesting part. How can a tiny little acorn this big, when you cut into it with a microscope, there's nothing in it? Where did the oak tree come from? Well, because it has a pattern code in it, and the universe said, if you put it in the ground, give it some water, some sunshine, that code will blossom into a giant oak tree. Now, here's your dream. Unlike the acorn, we as humans, the highest form of animal that there is in this planet, we're not an acorn. We have the ability to choose what we will grow into. By creating an image in our mind, because remember, the conscious mind can choose and it can create and it can originate ideas. So the image that you choose for yourself as the person you want to become, as the life you want to live, and when you plant that image in the soil, in your amazing soil of your subconscious mind, which is more fertile than any triple mix soil that I've ever seen, okay? Your subconscious mind, the image must manifest itself. It must become. It's the same law that governs the acorn when it's planted in the ground, cause and effect. Cause is planting it in the ground, effect is the oak tree. Your dream that you plant in your mind, if you put it in your subconscious mind, you keep repeating on what you want, like Tim shared with us. Think of what you want, not what you don't want. Because what you don't want, if you plant that in the ground, the same law says cause and effect. Energy transmutation, boom, here you go. Here's your reality, everything you don't want. So plant the seed of what you do want. And just like the oak tree, it must grow. Andrew Carnegie was the first billionaire in recorded history in 1900. Can you even imagine what $1 billion in 1900 is equivalent to today? And he said, the man that any idea that is held in the mind, that is emphasized, that is either feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate form available. Any idea of what you don't want or do want, it's universal law. It must become. So the question is, if you have a conscious mind and you have a subconscious mind, and you understand now how they operate, you create a thought of what you do want, and you continuously focus on it. You have ideas, and you create those beautiful images of the life that you want, and you keep thinking about what you do want. Like, I want to run a half marathon. I want to actually hit a full marathon. I keep picturing me running 42 instead of 21. I keep focusing on what I want. I want my life to have more freedom. I want my life to be more abundant. I want to have great relationships. And I want to live in a beautiful, healthy, wonderful body. That becomes the fixed idea in the soil, like the acorn. That's the code. And what happens is, that starts to become your habitual way of thinking, because all you focus on is, I want to do this. I want to run the marathon. I want to start the new business. I want to do it. I want to do this. I want to have this. And that changes the vibration in your body. Your vibration, your behavior starts to move into action. And that action ends up in a result. Right? But if we continue to think like we've always thought, we're going to continue to get what we always got. It's cause and effect. You can't, unless you change in here, the one spot where you can make a change, nothing outside will change. I mean, expecting everyone to line up to your liking, the government to do everything you want from them, and all the people to start acting and behaving in a certain way so you can be, that's just crazy. Right? The idea is we turn in here, we plant the seed of what we want. Any idea that is feared or revered, it must show up in the most appropriate and convenient way. I'm sure you've heard this message before. We become what we think about. It's been said by all the leaders in history. They practically didn't agree on anything else, but this is the one thing they did agree on. We become what we think about. Now, we have a choice, because we're not an acorn, because we don't have only one pattern plan. We have a choice. We've been given the freedom to choose. We can choose another universal law, which is polarity, positive, negative. We can choose to stay ignorant, which is in the negative side. And what happens when we are, because we're all ignorant in some way, but when we are staying ignorant, we are consumed by worry and doubt. worry and doubt what's going to happen to us, worry and doubt of how we're going to achieve what we want, worry and doubt when we look in the bank account and say, damn, man, there's no money in there, or there's not enough money there to pay the bills this month. We start to worry and doubt then. Well, that negative thought and, oh my God, there's not enough money. I don't know, I'm going to pay the rent. Oh, look at me. I don't like the body I'm living in. That constant negativity starts to plant the code in the subconscious mind. And that creates fear. Because remember, the subconscious is emotion. It's a feeling, not thinking, feeling. And if the feeling is fear, I guarantee you, you're not moving into good action. You're probably not moving into any action, but let's say you are taking action. It's not going to be good action. It's going to create anxiety. You're going to be stressed out. You're going to be anxious. You're going to procrastinate. You're going to hold everything in and you're going to bottle up your emotions and you're going to wish you could take the covers and put them over yourself and the world goes away, which creates depression. So the next time you meet somebody who's depressed, you know what's going on in their mind. It starts here always. First point of origination is the thought. Depression causes disease, and disease causes disintegration. But we're not acorns. We're human beings. We have an ability to choose. We can choose what we think. And if we think on the positive side, on the knowledge and awareness side, well, now we're caught up with something interesting. Now we can show up to workshops every month and learn something about ourselves. Now we can take information from great mentors and teachers and leaders and people who have proven through their actions that they know what they're talking about and they can actually shorten our experience. Now we start to understand that things can be different. And now we're caught with positive things, not negative. I'm not worried or doubt. What do I need to worry and doubt about if I understand how reality works? And now I have faith. I don't need to be in fear anymore. I'm an infinite being living in a physical body. I understand now how my intellect works and I can create anything I want. Yeah, I have a lot of faith now. That faith starts to transmute itself into your body, into well-being. You feel good about yourself. You're happy. You're expressing it with others. Wow, what a wonderful life. If I only knew. And you start to move faster into action. You start to take, you just want to go. Nobody can stop you. And you're at ease. You're chilling out. There's nothing to worry about. You just understand how life works now. And that is creation. That is the magic. That's how we make things happen. You can choose to stay ignorant. Everyone has the right to. Or you can choose to move to the positive part and decide, you know what? I'm just going to go for what I want. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you understand a little better now in an actual visual way what Tim was trying to share with us and what happened in his experience.
That was amazing. That the analogy of that tiny little acorn is such a powerful one. We all know an acorn. We've all seen one. We've all played with one. But when you put it, that it's the energy that when you put in the ground, it attracts all that energy from around it to create this. And just applying that same, if we plant that seed, what happens when we plant that seed and we then go out and create and we bring into us. But if we plant the wrong seed, don't plant an apple seed or an acorn seed and expect a fern tree. It's just not good. Ellie, that was, I can listen to you for hours and I would love to. Maybe we got to have an Ellie session, a Doc answer. How was that? Come on, guys, show him, give him some love. How did that feel? Give him some emphasis there, some thumbs up. Is this good? Do you want to hear more from Ellie? Or should I just say, nah? Okay, he's in.
One thing that I want to just share with everybody, this is as a token for everybody who's in our group. And if you're not in the group, please do join the Facebook group, because what I want to do is I'm going to upload this just like I did from last.
Yes. I want those slides. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to upload this worksheet for you. The idea is if you just put this in front of you and on a daily basis, just keep monitoring. What are my thoughts? What was my thought like in the last 30 minutes or hour that I was doing my work or whatever it is that you're throughout the day? If you start to, just for a little while, for a week or so, start to look at this map and understand that ignorance, doubt, worry, let me move to the knowledge side. This is what I need to do. Everything changes. And I'm going to put this up in the guide section. So you guys are welcome to download it, use it, please use it.
Fantastic. Great job, Ellie. You can go and read the comments of the people that they've put in the chats. Thank you very much. That's absolutely brilliant. And your lead into our next speaker, you're going to be hearing now from Leslie Rochelle. Now, I've recently been introduced to Leslie, and as soon as I connected with her straight away, I knew, hang on a second, here's somebody with a message that not only do I want to hear, but I would love her to come and share it. So her analogies and her story is connecting and taking to the next level of where you've spoken from. Ellie's background is in business. Ellie's actually an intuitive leadership mentor, and she's an experienced mentor. She's the founder of the Leslie Rochelle Coaching and Consulting Business, an international best-selling author. We've got 2 best-selling authors here with us tonight. Wow. And we've even got another a guest who I know is in here, who's another best-selling author. So we've got 4 authors that I know of. I've got to write my book. She's a lover of nature, coffee. Well, you can breathe now, so and learning. And Leslie supports entrepreneurs and business owners in developing soul-led leadership skills. I love the sound of that. Got a lot of wisdom, a lot of background. The coaching is fantastic. I'm going to hand over the microphone. Leslie, what a privilege and pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. Over to you.
Thank you so very much. This opportunity is so amazing. So thank you very much for Janine to make this introduction to Tim and Ellie. It was such a great session that you had. Thank you very much. And what I love about sessions like this is we can all be talking about the same subject, and how it's delivered is going to be different, which then means it is going to be received differently as well, right? So we all have, from that energetic perspective, we all have the people that are going to learn the best from us, regardless of whether we are providing the exact same messaging or not. So I'm really, really happy to be here. And I just like to give you a little bit of my backstory. So I come from 20 years or in the corporate world, and 15 of them being in a very heavily male-dominated oil and gas industry, which was an interesting journey for me to take, being the first visible female leader at our site location. I didn't have anybody else's breadcrumbs to follow, which then led me down this path of trying to figure out who they wanted me to be. And that led to I call it my drop to my knees moment, where I really understood that something really, really needed to change within that environment. And what it ended up being was, it was me that needed to change. There was no external influence that was going to make any change whatsoever in my world. What I really needed to do, and thankfully, that self-awareness really kicked in, and I was able to start that, deep personal work as well as within that leadership space. And then from there, I was able to thrive within my environment, to take a team that was really struggling. I inherited a number of individuals working in the same department. They were not a team. They were very siloed. They were working for their own metrics versus the company team type of metrics as well. So when I was able to come in and really help them to develop into their best selves, I was also developing my best self and developing the best leader that I could possibly be, because that really does have that exponential growth. So from there, we were able to create a dream team that at one point in time, nobody wanted to be on, into a team where I had so many people asking, can we cross-train with your team to learn something else? And the answer was always, of course, yes, right? And having the opportunity to become that go-to now, with other department leaders coming and tapping me on the shoulder saying, hey, we know this is outside of your regular job, but we would really love for you to be able to work with this up and coming leader. And so I had the opportunity of doing that. And what I still saw in that space was a number of gaps and I know it just wasn't within the company that I worked for, it is really within that leadership space as a whole. There is a difference between being a manager, being a boss, and being a supervisor versus being a leader. A leader really is in that class all its own. It is a special category. And oftentimes we see people that are in authority type of positions that refer to themselves as a leader, and they most certainly are not. They may have influence over your life. However, they are not leading from the best interest of perspective. So when we say yes to stepping into that soul-led leadership space, it is not allowing ourselves to be led by ego. Ego is here for a reason, so we definitely don't want it to go away. It is there to protect us. It is there to keep us safe. However, when we can quiet our minds, when we can, let the ego know that, hey, I understand what you're saying and I appreciate it, right? Right now, I'm just going to quiet you down. You're just going to take a little bit of a back seat so I can quiet my mind and really take a listen to that soul. Because, as Ellie had mentioned before, we are souls that come to live here and have the human experience that we're having right now. And each one of us is programmed, right, like the acorn, to be able to have the experiences that we're able to have. These experiences oftentimes come through challenge because it is the quickest and easiest way for us to learn something. Hopefully we learn the first time. As we are going through those challenges, we don't all learn the first time, which then the universe gives us a beautiful opportunity to learn it again, right? By providing us with opportunities to be able to learn within that space. So as we're coming into, Ellie had mentioned the concept of cause and effect. So as we are living into our best life, our best version of ourselves, our best leadership version of ourselves, we get to make a choice every single day, every moment of every single day as to how we want to show up. We can be within that cause, living in cause, which means we are taking radical responsibility for our lives, good, bad, or otherwise. Or we can be living from that effect place, which is, I'm a victim of life. I am in this place because of, insert whatever it is you want to be, because of the environment that I grew up in. I am here because somebody else made me feel that way. I am here because, etc., etc. Okay. The idea here really is to just simply take responsibility. There's a lot of lousy things that have happened in our lives, and we get to make a choice as to how we move forward from this day forward. It is not about trying to, because we can't change the past. We can heal from the past. However, we can't go and change the past. We do get to make a choice in every single moment of our day, how we are going to show up as our best self. We don't have to like it. It's a matter of simply accepting it and moving on from there. When we're having the conversations with ourselves and we're really stepping into that place of cause, is getting curious. I wonder why this happened. What if I try something else? This thing has happened within my life. I don't like it. I'm going to get curious about it, and I'm going to start asking questions to try to understand it, right? It may take you a little bit of time to get there, depending upon what that circumstance is. And sometimes it takes a little bit of space and time to understand, this thing happened. It did happen for me. It didn't happen to me. What can I learn from this in order to move forward faster within my life? One of the ways that we can really take a look at, how we're communicating with ourselves, and I was just having a conversation with somebody yesterday as well, and how important communication is. The most important relationship that we have within our lives, and will always have within our lives, is the one that we have with ourselves. When we get to treat ourselves with kindness and with grace and with beauty, so many amazing things are going to happen for you. So when we are speaking to ourselves, we always want to do this with positive framing. And what I mean by that is, again, it goes back to what are the things that we do want versus what are the things that we don't want. So when we are having these conversations, and this is one of the exercises I'm going to challenge you all to have this week, is to simply be aware of the conversations that you're having with yourself and the conversations you are having with other people. Are you saying, I can't wait for X? I bet you can wait. Are you excited instead for that thing? Can't wait for vacation. I'm so excited for vacation. There's a different energy that is really associated with how you are how you're having those conversations with yourself and how you're having those conversations with others. As we move really into that future pacing of what we're looking for, and again, how we are all connected here today is really, really wonderful, because as we're looking at, how do I help the universe bring these beautiful things into my life that I want into my life? One, we must speak to them that way, right? We always want to be moving towards something versus moving away from something else, right? If you want to have a better relationship, for instance, with someone, you are going to be talking towards having that more fulfilling relationship with something versus I want to stop fighting with this person. I want to stop arguing with this person. When you can turn that around and look at it from a I'm so excited to have this amazing conversation with this person and to strengthen this relationship. You are moving towards something versus away from something. So moving towards pleasure versus moving away from pain. When we get into that positive framing, I'm going to give you another exercise. So I hope you have pen and paper ready as well here too, is when we are going to be looking for that next best thing that's within our lives. One, know that everything is working out for you, even though it's not working out the way your human wants it to be working out for you. Sometimes these are incredibly massive challenges that are coming your way, and it's coming to your way for a reason. So if you have a specific goal in mind that you're looking to create, so if somebody wants to pop something in the chat as to a goal that they're looking to create within the next month or within the next year, just pop it in there for me, and we can absolutely use that as an exercise if you'd like to. If not, I will give you a general overview of what we can do there. Okay. All right. So what we can do is, if you want to be a fully certified breath practitioner. Okay, beautiful. So if we're using this example here, we can say today is the 15th of June. I am so excited that I am now a fully certified breath practitioner. I am so full of gratitude because I'm able to, one, I've accomplished my goal that I set out to accomplish. And now I get to help other people to, and then insert the reasons why this is so exciting for you that you're able to help other people. And then you're going to give some gratitude. It doesn't have to be a book that you're writing on here. Really, it's a paragraph. Okay. So it's June 15th, 2023. And I'm so excited that I have achieved this achievement because, and I am so grateful for. So I'm so grateful for the universe to be able to bring all these challenges that have come my way. I've learned these particular lessons so that now I get a chance to be able to help other people through this particular aspect of what I'm actually going through. You can do this with anything and everything. I would encourage you to do one per goal that you're trying to achieve. And then write it out every single day. Repeat it every single day until it comes to fruition. So this is like your manifesting statement. And this is one thing that I had the privilege of doing in 2021. I'm a manifesting generator, if anybody knows your designs there. And I was able to call in 4 different real estate transactions to be able to move across the country, to find just the perfect place for us to actually live in, all within the time frames, the dollar amounts, everything like that, because I put pen to paper and actually wrote it out and started calling it into myself. When we're looking for that soul-led leadership space, leadership is simply about becoming the best version of ourselves. It is not a position. It is not a title. It really is a way of being. And when we can dig in and develop that greater sense of self, that greater sense of self-awareness, and we have this desire to be the best version of ourselves as a leader, we then get to help other people become the best versions of themselves. Leadership is not about ego. Leadership is not about power. Leadership is about inspiring others to be the best version of themselves as well. This saying yes to the soul-led leadership space is going to challenge you. And it really is, because we've said yes. We've said, yes, I want to grow. I want to learn. The universe says, are you sure? Perfect. I'm going to give you this opportunity to be able to really, I guess, prove that to yourself that this is really what you want. It's allowing ourselves to quiet our minds and really listen to that soul that we have inside of us, because everybody has one, right? It's a matter of, can you quiet your mind enough to be able to hear it? And this is when it comes time to, do that breath work, to be able to center yourself, to be able to come back to who you are as, in your truest and best form that you have. There's misconceptions with regards to soul-led leadership. And I had this conversation yesterday, and some people think it's very woo-woo, and it's really not. It is simply a way of being. It's not waking up every day, sliding down your rainbow onto your unicorn so you can actually just go sit in a field full of daisies. It really is saying, hey, you know what? I want to see change, and I want to see change in a greater level. When you change, and you step into that leadership space and you're doing it for the right reasons, you get to see exponential growth. When you change, you are helping other people change, because when you are in this space of, I am no longer going to accept this type of an interaction, it means the people that were having that interaction with you, they get to learn something as well, right? Because you're not allowing them in that same space. So then they get to learn something. And then they're going to bring that new something within their lives as well, which means that you really do see that exponential growth. We're living in a time and place right now where we are seeing massive, in my opinion, you can agree with me or not, that's fine, is leadership is in trouble. Our governments, the global, our home lives, our organizations really need to understand what being a true leader actually is. It is not doing the easy thing. It is doing the right thing. And the right thing a lot of the times is incredibly difficult. When I have to have a conversation with somebody who is off track in their performance, that's not easy for me. However, I care about them enough to be able to let them know that they're off track. They're not easy conversations to have. They're not easy conversations to hear. However, when we can care about the people that are within our charge and legitimately care about the people within our charge, you will get more performance out of your team by default, because they know that you're in, you have bought into them and they have bought into you. When we look at that courage part of leadership, I'm going to leave you with, I think I'm right on time. I'm going to leave you with one little quote, which I really love. And it is, what if I fall? Oh, darling, what if you fly? Anytime we get to create change in our life can be uncomfortable. Embrace the change. We're never supposed to stay in the same place, because then we don't see the expansion in our lives. Don't let fear hold you back, and really step into becoming the best version of yourself. ask yourself the same questions to get to know yourself that you would ask somebody else. Don't be afraid of what you're going to find out. You are going to love the person that you get to create this beautiful relationship with. Thank you very much.
Amazing, amazing, Leslie. Loved hearing from you. Thank you so much. Guys, show Leslie, really, just put in the chats there. Give us some thumbs up. Give us some encouragement and some support. We're here. There's people been chatting, putting comments in as you've been going on. You spoke so beautifully about moving through into I've written so much down here. I've just had to asterisk one or two things. You dropped one line that I had to write down, but you said it so quickly and then went on. And for me, this one stood out. I'm just going to read you this. Can you quieten your mind in order to hear it? Wow. Profound. Very deep, very profound, Leslie. That was, yeah.
We can get so busy that we don't grace ourselves with the opportunity to just quiet our mind down so we can hear the soul. They are not in the same place.
They're not. And I love asking questions. Your version, putting it, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to borrow this from you. I'm always saying and teaching about ask the right question, ask questions, question everything, ask why. And you said it such a beautiful way. Get curious. Nice. I haven't used curious. Yeah, Leslie, that was amazing. Truly, right. And you're leading now into somebody that's very dear and close to you, who you've known for quite a long time. When I first met Janine Shapiro, it was in a networking event. She lives about 20 kilometers odd from where I live in the Western Cape in Langebaan. She lives up the road. I went up to her and I said, we've met before. Why do I get this distinct feeling that I know you? Now, here's the thing. I've never met Janine before. But there was this connection. I needed to sit and get to know this lady. There was something drawing me to her that not only could I learn from her, but just being in her presence in an environment. And what is amazing is how she gets this energy across the miles over Zoom. It's quite phenomenal. So Janine Shapiro is a personal leadership coach. And so as a personal leadership coach, Janine helps you gain clarity and insight as she helps you get to the heart of what is keeping you stuck and pivot to becoming unstoppable and unstuck. Using her psychic and healing abilities and experiences, you're guided to take aligned steps to find out where you are and reach where you always wanted to be as you learn to reset your mindset and heart set. There's a lot more in her bio. You can go online and read it. You get access to all of her information on the Facebook page anyway. Well worth finding out. And Janine, absolute privilege to have you. Thank you so much for saying yes. And the fact that you don't live too far, I'm going to be back on your doorstep as well. So I'm going to hand the microphone over to you. Ladies and gentlemen, Janine Shapiro.
Thank you so much for that incredible introduction. Please excuse my dog in the background. He likes to support everyone. So he's here to support us all. I'll have to just clear his energy afterwards. People, you have heard so much tonight from Tim, from Ellie, and from Leslie. The common theme is awareness, understanding, and knowing where you are going. Because if you wish to go somewhere and you have no destination actually in mind, any route takes you where you're going. And guess what? You actually go nowhere. And this is a fundamental perspective of personal leadership. What are your core values? What do you align with? And are you thinking, feeling, and acting in alignment with what aligns with you? Many times we are led down that garden path. And guess what? It winds up in somebody else's garden shed, when you are actually choosing to go on a holiday and an adventure. There's a difference between stepping on a rake and stepping on a beach. And we get to choose which one we would like to use. I love gardening, and I love the analogy of the acorn. I really enjoyed that because that is the truth. The important thing is, what story are you telling yourself day by day, night by night, person by person, moment by moment? Because that story is what is creating your life, taking you forward, tripping you up, projecting you to where you'd like to go. Because people, we get to circumvent a whole host of rubbish in our life when we understand what it is we wish to achieve, who we're choosing to be, and where we are led, and lead ourselves to know who we be. Because we came here to be human beings rather than human doings. We are here to create experiences, expansion, receive inspiration, work with our beautiful intuition, and be aware of our instinct. Because gut instinct isn't the same as heart-led intuition. And when Leslie said, be quiet enough to hear that whisper, that leading, that pathway, people, instead of taking you to Cape Town via Cairo, you go straight down the N1. And that is what we do in our life. We look at our destination and we tend to go, what is the longest way I can get there? And like you heard from Ellie, it is the most unconscious thing that we are doing. And it trips us up. I don't know about you. I used to trip up a lot. And when I started saying, okay, Janine, where are you tripping yourself up in your thinking, in your heart? And where are you letting your inner child drive the bus rather than being a passenger and having fun alongside you? Where are you choosing to let your parents' choices, your community's choices, your ancestors' choices, people you've never met, choices guide you, rather than the one that you are choosing to work with? I had a young client the one day, and it was so interesting. She was telling me, you know, it was so terrible at my last job. And I came to this job with such a better understanding of what I want, where I would like to go. You know what the difference is? She took herself wherever she went. And until she looked at that self and said, you know what, self? I think we could play this game a different way. Then she realized, in order to take responsibility, accountability for who she is and who she's choosing to be, because remember, we're a human being rather than a human doing. Wow, it's just incredible. And on that point, I forgot to start the stopwatch, so I might go a bit longer, people. And that's okay. I take responsibility for that. The important thing is checking in with, what am I thinking? And what helped me the most was I did an exercise the one day. Well, actually, I did it for a week. And it was really, really an interesting point of view. And we'll get back to that interesting point of view. Because every 15 minutes, my alarm on my phone went off. And I jotted down a word about what was I thinking? What was I feeling? And who was I with? What was the situation? Oh, my soul. When I got to assess that exercise after 7 days, I went, oh, hello, self. Guess what, soul? What would you like me to be? Who would you like me to be? Because that person is a real bee, and we are not going forward that way. We are choosing to shift, to change, and to move in alignment with a purpose, with our soul-led purpose, working with that soul-led leadership that Leslie was speaking about. And when I looked at this, Yes, it's a moment by moment choice. It's a person by person choice. And it's projecting ourselves 6 months ahead. What would you like in 6 months' time? Who would you like to be? One thing I learned, I never ask for more patience because the universe is so kind. I get people with challenges. I get motor cars that get in the way. I get to stretch, to learn, and to understand that that phrase, stepping out of your comfort zone, is one that you pick up your pen, you cross out, you put it in the dustbin, and you burn it and the dustbin. Because when we step out of our comfort zone, we become so afraid we freeze. We take flight or we begin to appease. Whereas when we get to choose to expand, to stretch, I was yoga this morning, and trust me, stretching was a very interesting point of view. My muscles were going squeak, and I was saying, just a smidgen more, just a little bit more, 1 second more. When Tim was doing his breathing exercise, who here was going 1 second more, one, maybe a millisecond more. And you stretched your comfort zone. It was jolly uncomfortable. In fact, you might have been going, will I ever breathe again? And what you chose to do was to work with it, play with it, and step into that extended boundary. Because by stretching ourselves, stretching that boundary, we allow ourselves to work in an uncomfortable, stretched way on expanding that comfort zone so that we can allow play to come our way. And when we can allow play to come our way, we overcome that inertia. We see the tension, the chaos for the gift it is, the gift that brings us growth, the gift that allows for expansion, the gift that allows us to be the person we chose in 6 months to be right now, right here. And here's a lovely tip that I enjoy using. I'll say, okay, I'm sitting here in December 2023. I achieved X, Y, and Z. What were the decisions I made? What were the games I played? Who did I choose to walk with? And where did we go? So that today, at the end of the year, while I sit here on the 27th of April, I am being that Janine in December 2023, looking back at the decisions that brought success to me, to my team, to my clients, to where I'm choosing to go. And it's that awareness that allows us to understand we can change at any time. We can shift. Just because I made this decision today, I can change it tomorrow and allow that being to take root, to take form, like that acorn, choosing to grow. I can plant an acorn, and until the right time is correct and best, that acorn just remains an acorn. And we have that decision in our hands. And actually, we have it in our head, we have it in our heart, and we have it in our gut. Now, here's something to be aware of along with that comfort zone. Very often, we will have a gut instinct. Oh, no, no, no. And the best thing to do at that point is to say, is this from a past experience? Is human keeping me safe? Check in with our heart and see what is actually at that gate. Are we meant to open it and step beyond? Because heart is leading us, soul is showing us. Or are we to shut it, turn around and go back up the garden path It's in the awareness and the understanding, the choosing to receive, that sometimes, as scared as we are, open that gate and step beyond it. Because so often we allow fear to control us, rather than seeing it as it's there to help us to grow. Because we see that fear and we say, hey, thank you for coming to play. I'm unavailable today. Sometimes the fear is there because it belongs to someone else that maybe takes care. And when we allow them to have their fear, their journey, we get to step along our path. And that, people, is when we receive the inspiration, listen to the intuition, and allow that instinct to say, is this from the past? Is this for now? Will this serve me tomorrow? Or is it just getting in the way? Because I'm choosing to be safe and to be okay. This is a mantra. Pick up your pen and write this down right now, or else pick up your phone and type it in. When we allow ourselves to say to ourselves every morning, it's safe to be okay, and it's okay to be safe. We expand that comfort zone during our day. And what we do is we allow that change, that whisper, that shortening of the journey to our dreams to come our way. And that is something I would like you to look at really seriously. I love words. I work with words because words are a reflection of our capacity. They're a reflection of our intensity, and they're an understanding of where we are, so we are able to shift where we are going. And when we choose to do that, our words shift, our words change, our energy shifts, our energy changes. And I used to dislike affirmations like you have absolutely no idea. I did that exercise for 7 days and I went, come here immediately. Because as we do affirmations, we learn, do I truly desire this? Is it really my why? Where can I tweak it and follow where I'm meant to go in a much more aligned way? When we affirm things, we're reprogramming who we be. And as we do that, we're able to work much more deeply with our intuition, which is our body, our heart, our soul. We hear people give us signs. We hear books. We read books. We listen to podcasts. And when you hear that recurring theme, understand that it's being reflected to you for you to go back to being a human being rather than a human doing, and to check in, am I still focused on where I'm choosing to go and to become, or has that shiny object taken my glance? Is it FOMO, fear of missing out? I really suffer from that. So for me, I get to keep a very firm eye on where I'm going and what's aligned for me to get there. I really had to learn that no is a complete sentence, and guilt goes in the bin. The lid gets put on, and I keep going towards the person I be in a year's time, in 5 years' time, because that's my dream. Distractions, they can be fun. Come back onto the path and allow yourself to focus, understanding everything that Tim has shared, Ellie has shared, and Leslie has shared. Because when we understand how we work, it helps us to know where to stay on our path. Personal leadership, again, is about, is it aligned with my core value? I always thought family was my top core value. I discovered it's peace. When I did my Gene Keys, I discovered my children are most important to me. And that is why I was distracted by family. Does that make sense? Because when we can choose to know who we are and to see who we can be and work from here, wow, when that tension comes, instead of going, oh, squeak, we can allow ourselves the solution to seek. Tension is there because we're being asked to change, to heal. Now remember, healing just means coming into wholeness, completeness in a situation, in a scenario, and it allows you to expand into who you can be and who you are. Imagine that. And that's an important phrase, because when you can imagine it, put that image in front of you, inside of you, you get to create it. You get to make it. And guess what? You get to change it. Just because I was like that an hour ago, maybe I'm choosing to be someone different right now. Again, when I'm a mother, I'm doing it one way. When I'm being a wife, I'm doing it another way. We get to integrate all those parts by becoming aware of what we're thinking, the emotion that is triggered, and what we are feeling. We have got 3 laws that a lot of people understand only one of them, and that is the law of attraction. And people forget about the law of creation and the law of paradoxical intent. Now remember, these laws are standard in the universe. Can you give me a thumbs up if you know what the law of paradoxical intent is? Okay, I don't see any thumbs up. What it is, absolutely, I agree, Ellie. The law of paradoxical intent is, you can choose to attract something. You can do all the mindset work. You can do all the affirmations. You can shift and you can change. And when that fear and that programming is heavier than where you wish to go, the heaviest part is what will grow. So we have the law of attraction. We have the law of paradoxical intent. And in the center, we have the law of creation, which goes to whichever one we swing it towards. That's where the awareness comes in. That's where understanding what our 3 beautiful speakers before me shared with you comes in. And that is the importance of understanding. What am I thinking? What is the story I'm sharing? And what is it I truly desire? I lived somebody else's dream for about 15 years and couldn't understand why I was getting nowhere fast, why I was ill, why I was sick. And when I came to understand that their why was their why and I could support them in it, and to choose my why, wow, people, the world opened up. For me, I love journaling. The reason I love journaling is you get to see physically, what you're thinking over a week, what the common threads are, and where you can shift and change. Who are you being? Who are you being with various people? Because I've come to understand there are certain people that when I'm unaware, I slip into being someone I dislike, that is out of alignment with my core values of peace, of truth, of trust. And guess what? I choose to stay at the higher level, and they can meet me there rather than play with the paradoxical intent law and drop down all the way away from my dreams, my goals, and my destination, because that law of creation swings both ways. So today, I would like to invite you to expand your comfort zone. Choose 3 things from tonight, today, and where will you apply them as you go along the way? Check in with where you're going. And the last tool I would like to offer you is, and everybody say this with me, please. Whose is this? Is this feeling and thought mine? Who here likes to sing? Because I apologize, my voice isn't wonderful and it makes the point. At that point, we say, return to sender, love and consciousness attached. Because that allows you to work with what is yours and to return with love and consciousness what belongs to another. And guess what? If it is yours, it comes back to you with love and consciousness, and you get to deal with it. Another affirmation for you. How does life get any better than this? And the last point, finally, avoid using the word why, because many times we use it in a sense that will create negative. Why should I do that? Rather than, what is a great reason that I can do this? Maybe that's a line to do it. Why keeps you looping. So if you're saying, why am I earning $1 million a minute? It's a great thing. And yes, why puts people on the defensive? It is an attack word. Whereas when it's a feeling and an understanding, it's a creation word. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And back to you, Tim.
Yeah, I'm still writing here. I've run out of pen and ink. Janine, thank you very much. Come on, guys, show her. How much did that mean to you? She's a poet in the words. It's phenomenal and very easy to listen to Janine. I hope one day we'll have the privilege and pleasure of having her back. And yes, you will, if on that on the booking form, you've got her contact details there already, but we'll put all of them for those who need to or would like to contact. Now, there's just so much. I always like to refer back and sort of link it a little bit. I don't know where to start. Sure, it's safe to be okay, and it's okay to be safe. Just some of these amazing words. One thing that Janine said, which I'd really love everybody to hone in on. There's a lot of information which has been shared with everybody tonight. A lot. There's nuggets. Each person's got nuggets from Ellie's, you know what they are. To absorb and take on all of this is just going to be overwhelming. So what Janine says is, pick 3 things. Just take 3 things. You don't have to take everything. Find 3 things which really resonated, that had a feeling. Own those 3 things. Start there. If you try and take on too much, it's just overwhelm will kick in. Taking on 3 things and working and focusing on those consistently and putting that into a structure in your daily routine. Just those 3 things. It's what I've said before. It's those 1% different every day adds up. So bringing in 3 things into your life may think, well, there's 20 on my list, but that's overwhelmed. Where 3 things applied into a structured day, you can start to create a habit to move forward, as Ellie's been talking about, and even Leslie has been speaking on. So consider, what 3 things would you take away? And what I'd encourage and ask everybody to do to build a bit of interaction in that Facebook group, and I've put the link on in the chat box, and you've got it on the emails that you've received from me as well, is put in the Facebook group, what are the 3 things that you take away from tonight? There's a lot of people who aren't able to be here because of power cuts, or they're working and they're going to catch the recordings. And many who are on the group who attended previous but haven't attended this, spur them on to listen to the recording, because you get access to all of them. Now that you're part of the group, you've registered one, but always remember, live is far more impactful than the recording. So we want to see you back next month without question, without doubt. So inspire the people who haven't been able to attend. Put in your 3 takeaway factors from tonight. So I'm going to round in, first of all, to say once more, thank you very much to Janine, Leslie, and Ellie. Guys, give them a big round of applause, committing their time in service, sharing with you from their hearts, giving their all, and just expecting, they're just getting your energy back. And that's what it's all about. This is just sharing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. In rounding on this, I'm going to end on one note for you, where I'm going to be doing a little bit of a punt, because I'm so excited about something that's happening in my realm, in my life, as I'm launching tonight my new business. And you guys are the first people who are actually going to get privy to seeing this. So I've been in the personal development sphere for sort of 16 years. I used to have hair in those days. I was shown some pictures before. And I've compiled a lot of knowledge and experience, and I've created and put together my professional pointer program. And it's this program which now I'm beginning to share. I'm just going to share my screen with you quickly here and get onto there we go. This is it. Professionalpointer.com. That is my website address. This is the first of my 3 programs putting together, where I'm speaking about who you want to become and who you will be. Called it the Midlife Mastery, Discovering Purpose in the Second Half of Life, with 4 easy steps. There's a video going through it there with rather a cheesy grin, I must say. And I'm launching it on the 11th of May at 7 p.m. So that is 2 weeks, 2 weeks away. Wow, less than 2 weeks. You can read a little bit about me here. I'll put the link in this in the box over there. What am I going to be covering in this workshop? It's going to be a 3.5 hour workshop, in depth, in detail. If you've enjoyed some of what I've shared with you tonight, and I'm pulling in knowledge and experience from the speakers all the time. That's why I love doing what we do here once a month. I'm going to be going through Bridging the Gap to help you identify who you are now, who you will become. There's a gap there. What is that gap? What knowledge, what information, what journey, what do you need to do? So knowing who you are, and most people don't really know that, we're going to answer ask some rather uncomfortable, tough questions there as well. Identifying your voids. What is missing? Typically, we fill a void later in life that occurred earlier in life, and identifying and knowing those. And typically, we don't know what those are until you actually bring it forward. Then we're going to go through 7 steps to empowerment and value determination. And here I use Dr. John DeMartini's work. Phenomenal work to understand and learn your value determinants. Who are you really? Outside of what you've been told by parents, siblings, friends, school, government, education, your boss, your spouse. Outside of that, who are you really? It was this journey that was my epiphany moment. We're going to be combining all of this together to really get personal in doing your evaluation. This also includes a 30-minute one-on-one connection call to then take all of this information and create your personal purpose statement. Just as businesses have value statements and vision statements, this is your purpose statement. Because once you've got this, everything that you do that is aligned to this, you're motivated, excited, passionate, you never need inspiration. It all comes inside. You get up every morning and you're kicking your heels. You know where you're going. You know why you're doing it. And the moment you come across something that does not feel right, as what Janine's been sharing, and you look at this, you go, what is my gut instinct telling me? Knowing your purpose statement. When you find that that is not aligned to your purpose statement, you know why. And you have a choice. Change your purpose statement or change what it is that is your busy questioning. We've got a private Facebook group there. And for the first time in any of my training courses, I'm throwing in a full 90-minute transformational breathwork journey. The first time I did one of these, Oh, wow. For a person who doesn't believe they carry their stress, our bodies carry everything. Your bodies store every single emotion, trauma, experience that you've ever had in your 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. And release that allows the new in. So I'm adding this into these modalities. Going to get the recordings. There's a lot of testimonials. Going to add some more on here. This is what it is. Now, it's a launch offer that I'm doing. You've got the bridging the gap, the know who you are, identifying your voids, 7 steps verification, the value determinations, the worksheets, the analysis, the 30-minute call, the Facebook group where there's going to be continuous interaction and focus on, and the transformational breathwork journey, plus all the recordings. The total value of this would be, or should be, or could be 9,900. I've dropped it because I want to get the South African market. I want to get out there to as many people. So the normal price is 2,940, but I'm doing a launch introductory price is 1,470. This is the ultimate of 16 years of focus and attention. And when I look at that price, I look and I go, but that's 30 minutes. What I normally would charge for a 30-minute consultation one-on-one. And you're getting all of this information. This is the first of 3 stages, but is the most critical in the analysis, determination of who you are. So that's what I'm launching. That's what I'm asking. Each of us are coaches in our own right. Most of us have got businesses and our coaching program. If you would like to go deeper with any of them, in the chat box, I'm putting in here right now, you want to be copying, if I can get it loaded, that, go onto the chat box, copy that Google Drive. This is the sheet that when you go into the Google Drive, you save a copy of it yourself, fill in the details, email it. My email address is on there. Email it to me. I forward it to the coach that you would like to have that 1-hour private, in-depth, deep dive session with them. That's what you get for being part of this community. That's what you have from our hearts to you for participating on this amazing evening. And this is what the value is of attending live. And those who are watching the recording, I'm sorry, you're going to have to be here next month to get access to that value. Ladies and gentlemen, absolute privilege. Fantastic to be sharing with you again. I cannot believe that it's 2 hours over already. It just seems to fly so fast with all this information. There is some phenomenal people on this call. We've got Doc Ant. Thank you very much for being back again, who's been one of our speakers. I think you were our speaker in February. There was absolutely insightful information there. I know he's going to be speaking. We have, in fact, an amazing lady on this call. I'm going to call her out now. Petra Laranja, who I've known for a couple of years now, I guess. She's a published author, and guess what? She's agreed to speak next month. Oh, it is amazing. Yes, I've told everybody. I know, Petra, deal with it now. You know, I'm so excited about that. This is what I do when I meet people and I connect with people and I go, your message, I would love to help you get your message out. I would love you to be part of this community. Will you be willing to? And it's just the like-minded people coming together. So looking forward to it. Amazing. Thank you very much. And of course, we've got Dale. Dale was, is he here still? Dale was on the call as well. I was a coach. So fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful rest of Thursday. It's been lovely to see some same faces coming back. That means so much to me. And some new faces. Share the love. Share this with everybody. This is for us. We don't have a capacity for how many people can be on the call. Let's bring more people in to help more people get that focus on attention towards driving to becoming the person who you will be this year and achieving those dreams, those goals, everything that you would like. It's environments like this that you get that spur, that kick, and that Facebook group is there for you to use. When you're struggling and you're having a bad time, put it in there. We'll support you and uplift you. When you've had that success, put it in there. We'll celebrate with you, and then you can also help uplift somebody who's having a bad day and go, wow, if they can do it, so can I. Let's get participating. Let's stay connected. Wonderful stuff. Great privilege, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all very much. I'm saying Good night for now.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you. Good night.